Howard right now is, without a doubt, the hottest radio personality in the country, probably the hottest radio personality that the country has seen in the last 25 years. This girl right here in the middle.
They call it raunch radio.
Do you ever wear underwear? Ever?
Yes, I do.
Are you wearing underwear tonight?
Yes, I am.
You're wearing panties.
Howard Stern is an American radio and television personality who is best known for his radio show, The Howard Stern Show. In 1985, his show began airing in New York City and was syndicated the following year. Known for his outrageous humor, self-deprecating jokes, and provocative commentary, Howard has come under fire on multiple occasions by the Federal Communications Commission, also known as the FCC for lewd content. In this video, we will take a deep look into some of Howard's most controversial moments as we explore the evolution of his career. We will refer to a list drafted by The Insider as a guide, as well as go into elements of Howard's third book, Howard Stern Comes Again. A proponent for freedom of speech, Howard Stern has dubbed himself the king of all media and describes himself to be politically incorrect, inappropriate, and vulgar. Though he's been able to maintain a thriving career as a shock jock, some feel that his time is up, as cultural attitudes have since evolved. Others support Howard Stern and believe that his past content shouldn't be measured by today's societal standards, but argue that society need not be so sensitive. So where do you stand? Ever since Howard was a boy, he always wanted to be on the radio. Born on January 12, 1954, in Jackson Heights, New York, to parents Ben and Ray, his father, Ben, was a sound engineer who exposed him to radio at an early age. As a shy and awkward child, Howard found an outlet when his dad set up a tape machine, microphone, and turntable in their basement, which allowed Howard to create and produce his own show at a young age. In his book, Howard writes, "I don't remember a time when I didn't want to be on the radio. Radio has been my life for so long."
This was my plan since I was 5 years old. I wanted to hear like a real type of radio. Everybody was milquetoast. Everybody was middle of the road. Everybody didn't want to offend everybody else. And it was boring. It was dull.
And you knew you wanted to do this when you were 5?
I wanted to be on the radio and just do a stream of consciousness radio show. And whenever I feel I'm censoring myself, whenever I feel I'm hiding something from the audience, I go ahead and blurt it out. Because that truth just really does set you free.
You've got something going on.
Yeah, I guarantee you what I'm doing is the Lord's work. I am absolutely making people laugh at the most miserable part of their life. That's the morning commute.
I hope one of the fans vomits on Jane Fonda.
Howard, along with his older sister Ellen, were raised in a very strict Jewish household. According to Howard, his father Ben was tough, assertive, and stern, often subjecting him to verbal abuse. It was pretty common for Ben to ridicule Howard by calling him a moron, stupid, and dumb.
When I hear myself on the radio sometimes and I'm really, ripping into somebody, I know it's my father. My father ripped into me on a daily basis.
Shut up! Sit down!
I hear my father coming out of me and it just goes off, And it's very much how my father dealt with me.
Howard, I don't want any foolish answers from you, otherwise don't answer.
And my father's a very funny guy. When he's ripping somebody good, if it's not you, it's funny. It's really good.
Don't scream and don't talk not too close. When I give you the signal.
What should you say?
What's the matter, you stupid?
Though Howard grew up in an environment with constant put-downs, it wasn't the only place where he was poorly treated. School was no better. At the time, Howard and his family lived in a very integrated community compared to their surrounding neighborhoods, leaving Howard to be one of the only white kids in school.
I had a shop teacher that it was bad enough I was in Roosevelt and it was an all-black school and the black kids were hostile to me. And I don't know
I guess they did have that in junior high school too, yeah.
Yeah. But this guy used to stand there and throw erasers at us, like big giant erasers, and just chuck them at our heads.
For what reason?
Well, the kids were really out of control. I had kids in my shop class. I mean, when I was in 9th grade, these guys were 18, 19 years old. I'm being serious.
They should have been working.
Yeah, they should have. These were guys with full facial hair and, full genitals.
They should have had jobs.
Yeah, and they would pull their pants down in the middle of class and fondle their genitals.
Check this out.
I mean, you do that here. So.
Yeah, well, but this is my job.
Yeah. In high school, I didn't take shop classes, but the shop teacher in our high school was like notorious. He called black guys spear chuckers.
Howard was picked on, bullied, and beat up on the regular. He would go home every day and express to his parents how miserable he was at school and how detrimental it was to his mental health. In his eyes, they needed to move.
My mother finally agreed to move out of Roosevelt, an all-black neighborhood where I was one of 3 white families. She finally realized that maybe it was a little bit weird. So she comes home from her first day of house hunting, and she goes, "We were in Freeport." I go, I'm a kid. I go, "Freeport? Are you fucking kidding?" She goes, "What's wrong with Freeport?" I go, "Mom, what is it with you? Can you only pick black communities? What are you talking about? Down by the water, there's no black people." I go, "Are you insane? What's with you? It's a lovely community, so there are a few black people." Few? We're in the same situation. I go to school with all black people. I don't have one white friend. Little did I know white people didn't want to be friends with me either. I thought it was just black people. Turned out it was all people. But at the time, I figured, well, if you're going to move, let's move to a white neighborhood. She was going to go buy in Freeport, Robin. Again, I would be with all black people. Freeport is black. Then she goes, "We saw a lovely house in Hempstead." I go, "Hempstead? That's worse."
Did the realtors think she was black?
I don't know. I go, "Mom, why didn't we move to Harlem?" You think? She finally moves to Rockville Center. Thank God. That was because of me. I said, "What's wrong with Merrick? It's lily white, 99% white." They never even saw a black person there. They never saw a Puerto Rican. If you're going to move to a neighborhood because the black people are beating me up, let's move away for good. No. She goes, "Find Freeport." Because my old man was cheap, too. He didn't want to spend $50,000 on a house. That's what the going price was. They looked at some house in Merrick. White. Robin, I would have been saved. White community, Merrick.
When they relocated to a more affluent community, Howard was still subjected to bullying and being the brunt of jokes at his school. Howard was 6'5", unathletic and very awkward, leaving him to be an easy target.
Rockville Center was predominantly white and certainly more affluent than its neighbor. The Stern family lived near a golf course on which they could not play because they were Jewish. The 15-year-old Stern still felt to be the outsider.
Howard was devoid of the major things that people approve of in high school. For example, what do you evaluate when you see someone in high school? Athletic ability, scholastic ability, abilities with females. I mean, that's basically how we judge each other when we're in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Howard had none of those 3. On top of that, he was nicknamed very quickly, and this may come as a shock to him, Gunkard Stern. That was his name. And we called him Gunky because he was so incredibly awkward. He couldn't run, he couldn't jump, he had no physical prowess whatsoever in any sport, and he stayed away from it. He hardly went to gym, he cut gym as often as he could, and he became such a standout that we were sort of attracted to him because we wanted to know, well, how could a guy be so different? How could a guy be 6'5", 14 years old, and not be able to play basketball?
Eventually, Howard graduated from Southside High School in 1972, and later from Boston University in 1974. In 1975, he received his radio operator license and obtained his first professional radio position at WNTN. In 1978, he married his college sweetheart Allison while moving up the ladder in his career. In 1982, Howard signed a $1 million 5-year contract for afternoon shows on the WNBC adult contemporary radio station in New York City. Howard would make quite the splash and quickly be known as a no-holds-barred radio personality.
You know who I am?
No.
I'm Howard Stern. I'm on the radio.
How do you do?
You ever listen to me?
No.
Obnoxious person.
Am I that obnoxious person? No. Why, do you think I'm obnoxious?
My first impression indicates that you might very well be.
I'm Howard Stern. How you doing?
Don't play by the rules.
I don't play by the rules, baby. That's right. As a matter of fact, you don't either? What do you do for a living? Look at this. I just want to say something. A black woman and a white man shaking hands in Washington. Who says there's racial problems, man? Who says there's racial? Get your hand off me! You catch some kind of disease? Come on over here. You're a young person, are you?
Yes.
Or are you impersonating a young person?
I'm a young person.
You are a young person? You know who I am?
No.
You ever listen to my show, Howard Stern Show?
Yes.
You do? You like it?
Not particularly.
No, what don't you like about it?
You're rather crude.
I'm rather crude?
Yes.
Well, how do you mean? Give me an example.
You're rather disgusting, and I don't care to give you an example.
You like
He picks on everything. He doesn't necessarily. Howard picks on everything. He doesn't necessarily
You're a very sweet person.
single any particular group or person or locality out, but it just so happens that everything turns out to be a pun.
The Insider begins their list of Howard's most controversial moments with his 1982 Washington, D.C. incident. They write, "A plane that took off from the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport in Arlington, Virginia, crashed, taking 78 lives. The next day, during his radio show when he was then at D.C., Stern called Air Florida to ask what the fare was for a one-way ticket to the national airport where the plane crashed. According to the report, many listeners were offended, but Stern claimed he was expressing his own outrage against the flight crew that allowed the plane to take off without the wings being de-iced.
In 1982, an Air Florida jet crashed into a bridge in Washington, D.C. What Stern did in the aftermath of the tragedy shocked some Washingtonians almost as much as the crash itself. And it firmly established Stern as the most radical and, to some people, the most offensive presence on the Washington radio scene.
When the plane crashed at the 14th Street Bridge, I said on the air, someone ought to call these guys and make them accountable because there was ice on the wings. And I said, let's call the airline and ask them if this is going to be a regular stop or something.
People started tuning in to hear what the outrageous morning jock at DC 101 would say or do next. Stern's ratings and those of the station soared.
Howard's opinions, actions, and content offended many and landed him in hot water with the network on multiple occasions. Although he raised the platform's ratings, he would be unexpectedly fired due to conceptual differences. WNBC's vice president said, "An examination of Stern's programs over a period of time showed a divergence of opinion, and we didn't feel we could resolve it. In the best interest of the station, we thought we should try something else." With 2 years still left on his contract, Howard was outraged with this decision and made his rounds, appearing on various media outlets to tell his side of the story.
John Hayes, who's the vice president and general manager of NBC, you know, he's the guy who fired you.
Yeah, he fired
said, translate, I'm trying to find out why you were fired. This is what
Good,
he said.
I'd like to find out too.
He said, we had a running difference of opinion on what the program should be, and I think that led us to a point over a long period of time where we decided that his show was no longer appropriate for NBC. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know. What does that mean? Why don't you poll your audience about that? What I think happened is, I don't think John really fired me. I don't think I was fired for anything I said or I did. What happened was the radio division loved me. The president of the radio division had just renegotiated my contract.
You're going to get paid now? I mean, you can.
Oh yeah, I'm going to sit home and get paid, I guess.
For how long?
Well, I got another 2 years to go. And the thing is, they all loved me there. What happened was probably some yo-yo up at the NBC corporate or RCA or something. One of his kids complained about me, didn't like me, and threw me off the radio station.
After Howard was sacked from WNBC, he was offered another 5-year contract with Infinity Broadcasting on WXRX in 1985. In 1986, upon being named the #1 morning show on the radio, The Howard Stern Show was syndicated. It wouldn't take too long for Howard to get himself into trouble, however. In 1992, he faced a few controversies. Howard was fined by the FCC for comments he made about Aunt Jemima pancake mix. It must be noted that as of 2021, Aunt Jemima pancake mix has been rebranded to Pearl Milling Company after criticism of packaging with racist stereotypes. The Insider writes, in 1992, Stern said on air, "The closest I came to making love to a black woman was when I pleasured myself to a picture of Aunt Jemima on a pancake box." I couldn't find a clip of Howard making these comments, but I did find a clip where they did a skit about the Aunt Jemima pancake mix on his show. Take a look.
When you have your new TV show, I decided I'm going to be your first guest. But I have one request of you. When I come on, I want you sitting in a rocking chair, dressed exactly like Aunt Jemima on the pancake box. And I think that should be your attire for every show, because you look like a beautiful black-eyed slave bitch. And you'll make my pancakes, you monkey bastards, because I'm the white king. And you'll service my pole. And you go down there and do all the things you're supposed to do, monkey bitch. Oh, I love you so much, Aunt Jemima. I love you so much, and I love your pancakes, too. And I like your flapjacks, too, if you get my drift, monkey. All right? Licky, licky, sucky, sucky, chewy, chewy, yum, yum, yum.
As a consequence, Howard Stern, along with his employer, Infinity Broadcasting, were fined $600,000 by the FCC for indecency. Stern would also upset MTV when he appeared in an outfit they felt was provocative. At the 1992 MTV Video Music Awards, Howard offended the network and viewers when he appeared in a gold spandex superhero costume exposing his buttocks. OK Magazine writes, Stern descended from the ceiling as Fart Man and simulated a gigantic release of gas that triggered an onstage explosion. MTV execs were appalled by Stern's actions, and he was banned from the award shows. A year after these scandals, Howard would find himself in hot water again. In 1993, Stern publicly mocked Lorena Bobbitt, a woman acquitted for cutting off her husband's phallus. The Insider writes, in 1993, Lorena Bobbitt was tried and acquitted for malicious wounding when she cut off her husband John Wayne Bobbitt's male genitalia. In her court testimony, she pleaded innocence by reason of temporary insanity because she claimed he assaulted her before the incident occurred and that she suffered years of SA as well as emotional and physical abuse. When John Wayne Bobbitt appeared on The Howard Stern Show in December of 1993, these are the comments Howard made that landed him in trouble.
John Wayne Bobbitt, of course. John Wayne Bobbitt, of course, had a terrible situation. John, seriously, what happened to you is horrible, and that's why we're raising money for you tonight. And to help everyone at home understand how close this guy came to spending his entire life without his stick, I'm talking about his... I want you to take a look at the John Wayne Bobbitt story.
The public were once again outraged with Howard's comments as they found them to be tone-deaf and highly insensitive towards victims of DV. The backlash, though, wouldn't stop Howard from moving forward in his career. In 1995, Howard would be charged with disorderly conduct related to comments he made about the late singer Selena Quintanilla Perez. The Insider writes, Selena was a popular Mexican-American singer-songwriter from Texas. In 1995, she was murdered by the president of her fan club, Yolanda Saldivar. Selena was only 23 years old. While reporting on her death on air, Stern said and did the following.
Anyway, Robin, what else is in the news?
Well, thousands of mourners have been remembering the woman known as the Queen of Tejano music, Howard. The singer Selena was shot and killed in Corpus Christi, Texas on Friday.
Guilty.
The founder of her fan club was charged with murder.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh. The president of the fan club?
Yes.
Oh. Spanish people have the worst taste of music. They really do.
They don't like depth.
No, they don't like any depth. It's all like, all happy. That's because they're all so sad. We have nothing. Our government is corrupt. Yes. Let's dance to happy music. And big chubby girls in thongs, you know.
Water is dirty.
The water is dirty. Our money means nothing on the open markets in Europe.
Government is corrupt.
This type of racist comments have no place in our radios.
Stern's words angered Selena's many fans in Texas, where she was shot and killed last Friday.
You know, for the Hispanic community, it's a very sad thing. We lost a woman who means, dearly to us. We're kind of, hurt, and we just feel that, Howard Stern, needs to kind of cool it down sometimes when it comes to death or any other, stuff like that.
We have immediately contacted the Federal Communications Commission for an investigation, and of course have asked that his show be terminated.
The next day, Howard would double down and simultaneously walk back his comments regarding Selena's death.
All these newspapers down in Dallas and El Paso and stuff. And I go, well, what's up? What'd I do now? He says, well, what did you say about this woman who got shot, Selena?
Oh.
I said, what did I say? Let's see. I said her music sounded really kind of sucky. But, I said I was really sad about the way she died. I thought it was awful. I said, I don't think that, I started reviewing everything I said. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. I said, well, she was called the Madonna of Mexico. And I said, that's kind of a crummy job, being the Madonna of Mexico, because the Madonna, the real Madonna, wouldn't go and have to deal with her fan club president. Even if her fan club president was stealing funds and stuff.
Yeah.
She wouldn't go to a motel somewhere to stop off to see the fan club president and, argue about whether she should be the fan club president anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Madonna wouldn't be involved in that. I mean,
she would not take care of that personally.
Yeah, I don't even know that Madonna would know what her fan club was up to. Well, I didn't return any of the phone calls to the press. I just assumed let them write their slanderous garbage, and then I'll sue them. Hey, how you doing, dude?
Hello?
Hey.
Hey, Howard, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, listen, as I was explaining to Gary, the only thing is I'm a fan of yours, but my parents, man, when it was on the news report last night, they made fun of this woman.
But I'm not making fun of her. I'm making fun of the Spanish music.
Yeah, you're playing chickens in the background.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's
funny.
Yeah, it's not that funny because somebody, famous just
We're
died.
not making fun of the fact that she died. It's the music.
Hey, douche. When Elvis died, I made fun of him. I played all his music.
Yeah,
Get over it.
But not all Spanish people. I mean, remember, the Spanish people, they're pretty powerful here, especially with the radio.
So you know what? Do me a favor. Get me off the air. Believe me, you'd be doing me a favor.
No, you're good for the air. Just,
let's make it like Mexico where nobody can open their mouth. Why? Let me ask you.
What should he do? He should not do what he feels like doing. That's what you would like?
Why doesn't Telemundo run reports on what's going on in Mexico with the government there? That you know that from the littlest police captain up to the presidente, they can't get anything done in that government because everybody is so damn corrupt.
Yeah, but
why don't they run reports on that? What are they worried about with Selena and the music?
Yeah, but if you want to really look at the Mexican government, it's also the American government who keeps loaning them money to do all this.
You know what? You want to know? Yeah, blame the person who's trying to help. Let me say something. Mexico's got many, many problems. The people are corrupt. They're almost babies. They can't take care of themselves. They don't have the balls to overthrow their government.
Maybe
they don't have the balls to stop the corruption.
How can you stop the corruption? They'll put a bullet in your head.
Well, how do you stop it? So let me ask you something. So why not get worked up about that? Why not write letters about that? Why not do say that's what your people are worried about? Singers?
No, they're organizing against you.
It's a third world nation. That's why they come over here to try and better themselves, just like your parents came over here.
That's no third world nation. You guys have been living right next door to America all those years with all that money. Your government takes all of the money. They take every penny. It's like the Filipinos.
Howard's comments would only escalate and inflame the situation, causing several people to protest his show.
His program is, he discriminates not only Hispanic, but also the black community and Jewish people. He makes bad comments about them, and I don't think it's right.
Stern, as you may recall, called Tex-Mex music shallow and silly and played sounds of gunfire over the popular star's funeral. Despite this protest, Stern fans remain loyal.
You don't feel that some things that Howard says are inflammatory?
Oh, absolutely inflammatory. That's why he's so popular. Unfortunately, it gets some people really going.
All Howard really said was he didn't like the music. He really said nothing against Selena. He said he just didn't like the music. So, if they get upset about that, that's what he said. But that's what he said.
You're lying. No, yes, I heard him. That's not what he said. He was talking very bad about Mexicans.
Protesters say there are many groups that have problems with Howard Stern, but they're not willing to protest. But they're also resigned to the fact that this protest and others will not get the shock jock off the air. In Manhattan, I'm Julian Phillips with the Channel 11 News at 10.
The following week, Howard apologized on air in Spanish to Selena's family, friends, and fans.
Como ustedes saben, soy una persona satírica. Mis comentarios sobre la trágica muerte de Selena sin duda no fueron hechos con la intención de causar aún más angustia a su familia, amigas y a aquellas personas que la querían. Me enfuerce que la vida de esta joven mujer se le fuese arrancada sin sentido. su asesina tiene que ser tratada firmemente por la justicia. Gracias.
Shock radio, which is the basis for Howard's content, often includes derogatory or offensive remarks, vulgar language, and/or crude humor. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but there are millions of people who tuned in to hear what Howard had to say. In an essay on Kibben.com, the author argues, quote, Howard Stern uses these vulgarities to make a point and not for show. Therefore, he should not be banned or censored on account of his radio show. Howard would go on and continue to make a name for himself as one of the most insulting and provocative personalities on radio. In 1999, Howard's career would be jeopardized when he made comments regarding the Columbine school shooting. OK Magazine writes, in 1999, the controversial star upset many when the day after the school shooting, he made a joke about really good-looking girls who ran for their lives away from the gunman.
Oh, man, I lived like a mile and a half from the school, man. I had a couple friends that were there, and I talked to them yesterday.
What'd they say?
They said that it was just a bunch of chaos, shooting, and...
Boy, a bunch of good-looking girls go to that school. That guy was right. The guy who called in, he was a little too excited, but it was like really good-looking girls running out of there with their hands over their heads.
Yeah, I'd say the bomb teams are still working.
Did those kids try to have sex with any of the good-looking girls? They didn't even do that. At least if you're going to go kill yourself and kids, like, why wouldn't you have some sex?
Yeah, I would think that I would want some sex, but...
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to kill people, I'd take them out with some sex.
I guess they were getting a rush from what they were doing.
They said when these guys were really against the good-looking girls because the good-looking girls wouldn't pay attention to them. I think the good-looking girls would be begging them to live, and they go, "You don't have to beg because you're going to be dead in a minute."
Yeah, don't cry.
Don't cry. Yeah.
See that one little blurb? It's like there was some girl, she was trying to hide under the table, and he came up behind her and goes, "Peekaboo," and puts the gun right up to her neck.
Yeah, one guy was saying that, a girl was running down the hall and her head popped open, because she just got shot.
Parents of the children whose lives were taken, as well as listeners, were shocked and disgusted by Howard's comments. Despite the backlash, Howard doubled down on his comments and refused to apologize. 1 month later, Howard's career would implode again when actress Dana Plato was found deceased the day after appearing on his show. The Insider writes, the day before her death, Dana appeared on the Howard Stern Show. Dana had spoken before about having a drug problem and on the show said she was sober. Stern pressured her to take a drug test.
All right, so have you been in psychotherapy? Have you been on any medication or anything like that?
I've been sober for the longest time.
Really?
Oh, it's over a decade now.
No kidding.
No joke.
So you weren't doing any crack or anything with her?
Hell no.
No.
And people weren't coming to try to find you, to pick you up and get you into rehab?
Oh, they can all bite me.
Howard, I got 2 points to make. First of all, somebody that doesn't do is not marrying somebody they only known for 6 months. Number 2, why don't you
That's not true.
Why don't you get a urine sample from her, Howard?
We're going to get one.
You know what, sir? I'm not going to do that.
You are loaded. You're messed up. You're still doing...
I'm sure about that now. Are you sure about that?
That masquerade that you're putting on. You're lying.
I like that you're going to take a urine test. I think it's terrific.
I'll do it. I'll do it, but I won't do it for him.
Yep.
Negative, all right?
All right, well, let's bet on it. Would you bet him on it?
I'll bet.
I'll put money on it.
You will?
How much?
How much?
See, this is what I talk about. I shouldn't have to defend my character all the time.
You shouldn't have to, but why not? Once you take the urine test, you'll never have to again. This will shut everyone up.
Exactly.
That is so wrong.
Take it, Dana.
Oh.
Because of people like you, sir.
According to the New York Post, when listeners accused her of being under the influence, she emotionally offered to submit locks of her hair to send off for testing. Stern's producer Gary snipped a few hairs from her head.
So what are we going to do? Pull out her hair?
This is really a weird show.
This is a very weird show. This is taking on a weird...
Your hair.
Pull out her hair and make her pee.
It's ridiculous.
Let her pee in a cup and pull out her hair.
I'm sorry. It's just absurd. This is absurd.
Hey, give Baba Boo your hair right now. Can you pull one out of your beautiful head? Go ahead. Let me see you do it. Let me see. Now, the hair in your head. Can you use that hair in her lap? I'm sure it all works. Use the hair in your head. Give him a hair. And we'll test you.
Put it right here.
And we'll find out if you're on once and for all. I believe you.
Pull out a hair? Oh, I would.
I can pull out hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I do it. Oh, there it is. There's the hair. You got it, Baba Booey? Now press that hair. And let's have the how long does that take?
Dana, I'm also recovering, and I believe in you. I believe everything you said.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
That's not a problem at all. And Howard, if
starts to cry, I'm sure you can console her.
Well, I like that. She did start to cry again.
Thank you.
No onions in the studio, huh?
And you're really hurting, huh? I mean, that you break out into tears so quickly.
It hurts, Howard.
I'm tired.
Recovery.
You're tired.
I'm just tired.
You're tired of the whole thing.
I'm tired of defending my character everywhere I go.
Did you ever consider suicide at one point?
Oh, hell no.
You never did. Never got that
I
bad.
got a beautiful boy, no.
Right, you would never do that.
I'm okay in my skin, you know?
Right.
I'm okay with who I am.
You feel good.
On Mother's Day, Linda learned that Dana was gone, dead at 34 of a drug overdose. Police say Dana died Saturday night in this Winnebago in Moore, Oklahoma, a mile from where tornadoes hit down just last week. Authorities say Dana had taken a combination of Valium and the painkiller Loratab.
The medical examiner's office is investigating the case as a possible accidental overdose.
Paramedics rushed to this home here in Moore, Oklahoma. The home belongs to Dana's fiance's parents. Neighbors looked on as paramedics desperately tried to revive Dana, but to no avail. The day before she died, Dana had flown to New York and told shock jock Howard Stern she was off drugs.
Upon news of her passing, several people spoke out, including actor Todd Bridges' mother, who blamed Howard for driving Dana over the edge. She said, quote, "After going on his show, maybe Dana thought, I need to take a Valium to calm me down because people think I'm on drugs." Though Howard's career was taking some hits, he would, however, continue to thrive. Howard's comments weren't limited to a particular group of people. He spoke about anyone and anything. Nothing was off limits. Though many found him to be insensitive, he claims he just said what everyone else was thinking.
People tell me, you're too sleazy. This is going to hurt me, hurt 2020.
Well,
you shouldn't do this interview.
I would like to meet the people that told you that. I'd love to meet them.
People despise you.
Oh, really? Well, you know, my feeling is that I guess when you do what I do, you know, you're not going to have all friends. You know, it's some people, the stuff I do is sometimes really rough.
Ah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on in, gang.
This is pretty rough.
Let's play some Black Jeopardy. Come on in. The show where there is no racism.
What I do is out there.
To play Black
But I know that it kicks ass when I get on that radio and it makes people laugh.
All right, this is a real brother. That's the real thing right there.
Stern's out there all right.
All right.
He offered these men who work at McDonald's in Harlem a chance to win gift certificates if they come into play what he calls Black Jeopardy.
Take a look at this, you brothers. This here is the white prize.
There's something to offend everyone.
Let me take a look. Oh, man. Wow. How's that, my brothers? Salam alaikum to that. Now, I'm going to let you pick your own African name. You could either be Kareem in my coffee.
We're so uptight about race. I grew up in a black neighborhood. Everybody talked about race. 24 hours a day, what you heard on Black Jeopardy was going on in the school. I don't feel that I'm a racist. I don't have those feelings toward people. I think people say, wow, that's making fun of a stereotype. Of course it's a stereotype.
But you make the stereotype worse. You reinforce it in racist eyes.
I see it just opposite. I see it as though you're getting people to start laughing at their differences and bringing them together. The thing that's not healthy in our society, the way I see it, is that no one can talk about race with each other. You guys were great sports. Thanks for doing this. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, we did.
In 2002, Howard once again made some very problematic comments, and one of his guests was extremely uncomfortable. The Insider writes, Anna Nicole Smith appeared on his show in 2002 and was questioned about her weight by Howard. Howard said to Anna, "The way you dress and stuff, I don't think you're aware that you're a very heavy-set woman."
For some reason, she doesn't think she's heavy.
Right, that's a for sure.
That's the other strange thing, that Anna doesn't recognize that she's a big girl and maybe shouldn't wear belly shirts.
And all the time, she's eating.
Yeah. I
mean,
think
they go to play a game, it's an eating contest.
she's got to weigh, I would say she weighs 300 pounds at least. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I think she, well,
300. She's tall.
For a girl, though, is
300 pounds, I'm saying, because she's bigger than most men.
I mean, her ass is big.
When I was with her, I weighed like 220.
And she was bigger than you.
And she dwarfed you.
Yeah.
Really? Don't you think she could weigh 300?
You know, you might be right.
I was like 280.
I'll say 300. I'll bet on it.
280. I think
if we can get her on the scale.
You think she'll get on the scale?
We should do an under over. Okay, I'll bet you $100.
A little bit, though.
Go ahead.
I'll bet you $100. She's not over 300, but it's going to be so close. I think she's probably 280, 290.
All right, let's do this. The person who comes closest within 5 pounds of her weight.
Over or under? Any five.
You know what? If you make the under-over, say 280, right?
Are we weighing in naked? Is she weighing in naked?
Now, here's what you do. You pick a weight.
Right.
The person, over and under, whoever comes closest within 5 pounds, wins. We each put up $100.
We'll have a pool.
So I don't know how many people want to get in on it.
I'm in.
I'm with you.
All right. You're in?
This is
Okay.
great.
Howard says 300. Gary Delabate says what?
You know, I was going to say 283. But
Go with your thing.
Go with your first instinct.
283.
Okay. Robin?
287.
Here's another hint. When she was hot, I remember reading this because it blew me away. When she was like hot, she was 160.
Yeah, see, Howard, I would.
So that's her fighting weight.
I'm standing at 287.
All right. Okay. You're at 287. Gary's 283. I'm at 300. Go ahead, Stuttering John.
265.
Anna was in the studio and heard Howard and his staff place their bets. When she entered the room for her interview, she was not happy.
I know I'm a big woman, so what?
So I was guessing your weight. And I was going to say to you today, can you please get on the scale and then we'll have an over-under. That's all.
No.
Why not? Why not?
I'm not going to get on the scale if you got to weigh me.
If you get on the scale, I'm serious.
Why would you want me to get on the scale?
I'll tell you why.
So you could humiliate me.
No, that's not humiliating. I think you should be proud of what you weigh. All right, listen. You put yourself out there. You're doing the show. Of course people are going to comment on your life. And I said, I'll repeat what I said earlier, that the way you dress and stuff, I don't think you're aware that you're a heavy-set woman. That's what I said.
All I hear is more jokes and more slander.
No, not slander.
From you.
I'm not going to slander you.
Stupid.
I want to prove. I will put $1,000 in your college, the college fund for your child.
I'll tell you what, Howard. I'll add another $2,000 courtesy of i1.com, and
boy, the money's really flying around here.
That's $3,000 for her son's college fund, and I will throw in for her son because I know he likes the game. I'll throw in an Xbox.
All right, going to be your son.
Not enough.
If we weigh you now, I'll give you $3,000 courtesy of i1.com and
Trim Spa.
Nope.
Plus an Xbox for your son.
Nope, not enough.
How much do you weigh?
How much do you think I weigh?
Want me to be honest? But you're going to get pissed off at me.
Don't be insulted by it. I mean, he's got
I'm already pissed off at you.
You heard the whole thing.
I don't know why you're pissed off at me. What did I say?
Me off. That I'm on drugs? What is it?
I said here's what I thought. I thought from watching the show, because when you were in here the last time, I didn't see the show yet. I saw one episode, and I said to you at that time, I thought that you were high for the show. And you said, no, Howard, I'm not high for the show, that's my southern drawl or whatever.
And even you said when you watched the show, you said I sound and look high.
I did, and I said it looked like it. But Howard's saying today that that's wrong, and he thinks I'm on drugs.
I think that you're on a medication.
But I'm not.
I can't believe it, because you always appear wasted.
What's wrong with me?
I mean,
hello, peekaboo, right here.
No, I think sometimes when I see you on the show, you seem very out. I'm going to ask your assistant, Kim. Don't you think Anna sometimes seems very out of it? Am I high saying that?
I think that they run her pretty hard. I mean, we have, like right now, we got in at 12:30 last night, got up first thing in the morning. We're all tired and dragging.
Yeah, but you're tired right now, Kim. You don't sound high.
In 2004, Howard Stern's relationship with terrestrial radio would be broken after he was once again fined for comments he made. This time, he was fined $495,000 by the FCC for an interview he had with Rick Salomon, the man that made an explicit tape with Paris Hilton. In that interview, Howard was heard making graphic comments about certain positions and using racial slurs. This wouldn't be the first time that Howard used racial slurs. He has been caught using them on multiple occasions, as well as doing blackface.
Here's the deal. I can't do the kind of material I used to do 10 years ago. In 1987, I started getting fined by the FCC. And what happened was all the big corporations I worked for, Viacom, Clear Channel, they bowed to the government. They didn't challenge anything. They didn't go and say, gee, are we really indecent or obscene? I don't think there's one thing I've ever said on the radio that would have been found indecent or obscene.
No, you just talk sex talk.
Right. Big deal.
Are you going to ratchet that up?
I don't know. You know, there's no restrictions. Here's the analogy. You ever watch the Chris Rock special on HBO, his first one? I think it's some of the most brilliant comedy I have ever seen.
But there's a lot of F words in it.
There's a lot of language,
Right.
there's a lot of concepts that they couldn't allow on network television. If you took that same special and you put it on NBC television in prime time, they would chop it up and edit it.
You can't use the F word
You'd
in
be bored.
commercial television.
Forget just the F word. You can't talk about certain aspects of your sex life. You can't talk about certain views that you might have or topics. This special would be horrible. That's the difference. My show was revolutionary, groundbreaking. When I came on the scene, people were not doing a thing. There were no Bill O'Reillys even who gave their opinion. I remember news guys used to be, call us with your opinion. News guy didn't even give his opinion. The state of radio changed when I got into it. I want to get back to that. I am tired of being harnessed. I want to get back to what I was doing 15 years ago.
But people don't know what that is. So, pithy.
My fans know. My fans know exactly what that is.
Does it mean more four-letter words? What does it mean?
Yeah, I believe blue material is funny. But if that's all you got, you're dead in the water.
The Insider then references an incident in 2005 where they say Howard once again crossed the line. They write, in 2005, Emma Bunton, also known as Baby Spice from the Spice Girls, made an appearance on The Howard Stern Show. Stern asked a visibly uncomfortable Emma about her time with the Spice Girls, though his questions were less about the group and more about her body.
What?
My dad won't be happy that you're talking to me like this.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it.
You are funny.
I bet when you were young, you started in with boys, right? You were very developed. What age did you develop? What age did you develop?
I'm not going to talk to you about this.
When did you get your period?
I'm not telling you that.
Why? How old were you?
Absolutely
Why?
not.
That's not so. That's so. What everyone talks about.
I don't care. I'm not talking to you.
You got to be honest here. Why? Come on.
I am being honest, you sir, but I don't want to tell you that.
I'm going to say you were a little bit of a late bloomer. I'm going to say 13. How close am I? I'm right, aren't I? Yes, I am. I know my women. I don't know much, but I know women. So you've said in other interviews that you were 16 when you lost your virginity.
Have I?
Yeah.
You've done your research.
Oh, you're damn right. Yes. That's when you were Swallow Spice.
I really thought you weren't going to be this rude with me.
I'm not being rude.
You are.
I'm liking you. This is how I show my love.
Who do you think you're talking to?
You're crazy if you think this is bad.
This ain't John
I
McEnroe.
know.
This
That's
is me.
true. That's very true.
This is me relaxing with you and talking like I talk at home.
Okay.
You know, the publicist thinks I'm being too sexual.
I'm unsure. I just Ronnie came in and said, so she got
They might not be happy with me.
See?
Am I being rude?
You have been rude.
Really?
Yeah, no, I could tell that she's thinking you're rude.
Oh, really?
No.
I think you've been they've been worse than you.
That's me? Yeah, what did I say that was bad?
No, but I'm a big fan, but I don't think you'd be that rude with me.
Howard Stern's comments about women and their bodies was always a hot topic for him. Over the course of his career, he never shied away from making comments that left people feeling disgusted. According to The Insider, in 2010, Howard and his co-star Robin discussed actress Gabourey Sidibe's weight.
You know, here's the thing. I don't. First of all, I love the movie Precious. I thought it was a terrific movie. That's number one. Number two.
But number two.
One, you don't have to look like that in order to do that part.
That's right.
They've got makeup that can work to make somebody look like that. You don't have to be unhealthy to do that part.
Well, the fact the point I was trying to make, because we got slammed, the point I was trying to make is that, look, obesity in this country is out of control, and everyone's, not that at the Academy Awards, Oprah's going to really get up and chastise the girl. But what's really sad is you do see people now saying it's okay to be this heavy. You got to love your own body. You got to embrace it.
And tacitly just supporting her and lauding her while she looks like that
right.
is sort of saying this is okay.
According to The Insider, Howard Stern insulted singer Sam Smith in 2015 when he called him a, quote, fat, ugly mother effer that looks gay.
You know what I like about the guy? He's an ugly motherfucker. He's fat and
I think...
And I love it.
Has he come out as gay?
Oh, is he gay? You know what? He looks gay to me. Not that anybody looks gay, but he does seem effeminate.
I think that's the case.
Cool. I like that he's chubby and gay. That's why I love him. He's fat and he's gay, and little girls worship him. That's when you know you have a good song and you have a good voice. Because little girls fantasize about, like, you know,
hairless,
Jonas Brothers,
right? Justin Bieber type kid,
right?
As stated before, with Howard, nothing is off limits. He argues that his jokes about stereotypes are just that, jokes, and he is unapologetic about it.
My primary audience is anyone who likes to laugh. I don't look at my audience as a demographic. I look at it as a psychographic.
You think there's more men than women?
Yes, there are more men than women.
Why is that?
I have always envisioned the guy I'm doing the show for is driving to work. He's a buddy of mine. We're in the locker room, and man, we're talking reality. We're not talking politely. We're being honest. We're being real. Secret to my show isn't dirty words. Secret to my show isn't potty humor. The secret to my show is honesty, reality, that I will say the truth. I was interviewed by 60 Minutes, and they asked me, how did you wish death on a guy? I said, you mean to tell me that you've never wished that somebody was dead? When you saw those planes go into the Twin Towers, did you wish that Osama bin Laden was caught and killed? Well, I feel the same way sometimes when my back is up against the wall. I want Osama bin Laden dead. Our whole country does. And I've wished death on people on my show. People go, that's outrageous. I go, no, I'm just willing to admit it.
Howard would continue being the top-rated radio show and media personality over the years, making hundreds of millions of dollars. In the past, Howard maintained his position regarding free speech and very rarely apologized for his content. But it would take for Howard to go through a divorce from his first wife, Allison, and have a cancer scare to self-reflect and admit that his content was perhaps destructive and damaging. In his book, he wrote the following: I am not proud of my first 2 books. I don't even have them displayed on my bookshelf at home. I think of them and the interviews I did with my guests during those first couple decades of my career, and I cringe. I was an absolute maniac. My narcissism was so strong that I was incapable of appreciating what somebody else might be feeling. I have so many regrets about guests from that time. I asked Gilda Radner if Gene Wilder had a big you-know-what. Great question. Drove her right out the door. George Michael's band, Wham! Everyone I worked with said, whatever you do, don't ask them if they're gay. Do not ask them if they're gay. Within 20 seconds, I asked them if they were gay. Eminem came on my show once and then never again. Same with Will Ferrell. Possibly my biggest regret was my interview with Robin Williams. When Robin came on the show in the early 90s, I spent the entire time badgering him about how he had divorced his first wife and remarried his son's former nanny. I was attacking the guy, and he was justifiably furious with me. It took me 20 years to work up the nerve to apologize. I was in the midst of tracking down his phone number, and the next day, he died.
I'm going to blow you out of the water. I'm going to be pure id, and bam, let it all out. That was my approach to radio.
Was that a conscious approach then? Or was it just you?
No, it was a conscious approach. No, that's what I had to do. But it was me. When you're on the radio and you're trying to attract an audience, everything is intense and everything is super blown up.
When you read this book, it doesn't sound like you like that guy that much.
I'm not in love with that guy that much, and it's hard for me. I never was in love with myself, and I think that comes across in the book. I have problems, but I have learned through therapy. Maybe I could love myself a bit. I had to start learning how to be a man. I didn't have any lessons.
Being listened to in therapy helped him listen more on air.
Yes, millions of people were listening to me on the radio. But I was telling stories. I'm primarily being funny and provocative for my audience. But I had never really been alone in a room with a man where he heard me and listened to me. The first session I went in, I'm sitting there and I'm doing some of the best radio routines I've ever done. I'm doing impressions of my mother. I'm doing impressions of my father.
You're going to be the best patient.
Best patient, because I got to be loved. And he turned to me and he goes, none of this is funny.
Howard Stern has been called a racist, sexist, a creep, disgusting, vulgar, misogynist, and the list goes on. In this day and age, where society demands accountability, do you believe Howard Stern's recent apology is enough? Do you believe that he should be held accountable for his past behavior and content? Or do you believe that society needs to build tolerance for different opinions? Do you believe that Howard Stern has the right to his platform, the right to freedom of speech, opinions, and thoughts, no matter how offensive?
All the outrageousness, all the sex talk, all that stuff was liberating and revolutionary to me because I was on terrestrial radio, the government was being oppressive, I was fighting the good fight. Well, now I get on satellite radio, and suddenly my world is like, oh, do whatever you want. It's the Wild West. And so suddenly, who am I railing against? Who am I fighting? Who is the enemy here, you know? When I'm sitting there, I said, what would it be like to really hear what someone has to say?